Ananda is a worldwide group of individuals who share the search for higher consciousness and the ideal of service to others. We express this service by offering uplifting values and techniques for achieving peace of mind and inner happiness. Ananda, which means joy in Sanskrit, was founded to support others in their quest for spiritual growth. Ananda was founded by Swami Kriyananda and is one of the world's most successful intentional communities. Ananda came into existence in the late 1960s, a time when America saw thousands of attempts to create new models of living. Most of these experiments never survived their first year, but Ananda has thrived and grown. The thoughtful person must wonder why. 3 reasons stand above all others. First, Ananda is built on high spiritual principles, with daily meditation as the oil that lubricates all of our interactions. Secondly, we put primary emphasis on the growth of every individual. And finally, through all tests and trials, we have stubbornly held to Dharma, or righteous action. Ananda members are disciples of Paramhansa Yoganada. Yogananda was born in India in 1893 and is best known as the author of the best-selling book, Autobiography of a Yogi. In 1920, the young yoga master received an invitation from the American Unitarian Association to serve as India's delegate to the International Congress of Religious Liberals, meeting that year in Boston. Paramhansa Yogananda arrived in Boston in August of 1920, and on the 6th of October presented his first speech in America as planned. In America, he found many people hungry for India's spiritual teachings and for the liberating techniques of yoga. For the next 4 years, Yogananda stayed in Boston, giving public lectures, teaching classes, and writing. He then embarked on a nationwide speaking tour, encompassing every major city in America. He filled auditoriums to capacity everywhere he spoke, revealing the science of yoga to seekers from Salt Lake City to Cincinnati. In 1925, the Los Angeles Times reported thousands being turned away from the 3,000-seat Philharmonic Auditorium. The article went on to say, Swami Yogananda is the attraction, a Hindu invading the United States to bring God in the midst of a Christian community, preaching the essence of Christian doctrine. After completing his standing room-only lecture tour, Yogananda decided to stay on in California, where in 1925 he established an American headquarters in Los Angeles. He was the first yoga master of India to take up permanent residence in the West. Unlike most other teachers from India, he never tried to impose his own country's cultural modes on Americans, but sought rather to show Americans how to spiritualize their own culture. Dynamically and with contagious joy, he set out to persuade minds steeped in the virtues of down-to-earth practicality that the most practical course of all is to seek God. Paramhansa Yogananda's teachings are non-sectarian and offer practical solutions to the challenges of modern life. Yogananda's guru, Swami Sri Yukteswar, sent him to the West with the admonition, "The West is high in material attainments, but lacking in spiritual understanding. It is God's will that you play a role in teaching mankind the value of balancing the material with an inner spiritual life." The path of Kriya Yoga, which Yogananda called the jet airplane route to God, consists of ancient yoga techniques to hasten the spiritual evolution of the student. Kriya Yoga forms the cornerstone of Paramhansa Yogananda's spiritual teachings. Through this meditation technique, one can realize God. Paramhansa Yogananda also taught that what the world needs is a blend of the best qualities of East and West, the spiritual insight of the East and the practical efficiency of the West. One without the other leads to a society barren of fulfillment, but a balance of the two can bring peace, harmony, prosperity, and happiness. He often predicted that world brotherhood colonies, based on the twin principles of plain living and high thinking, would be the social pattern for the future. He envisioned a place where all people, not just monastics, could devote themselves to living a divine life, dedicated to practicing the teachings of yoga in every aspect of their daily life. Yogananda remained in America until the time of his passing in 1952. He was mourned by millions who had embraced his yogic teachings, his emphasis on the unity of all religions, his shunning of religious dogma, and his unwavering call for every individual to self-realize the presence of God within. Swami Kriyananda founded Ananda village in 1968 to fulfill Yogananda's vision of world brotherhood colonies, or spiritual cooperative communities. Swami Kriyananda, James Donald Walters, is a direct disciple of Paramhansa Yogananda. Over the last 50-plus years, Kriyananda has dedicated his life to spreading the teaching and the spirit of his great guru. In 1948, the young truth seeker read Autobiography of a Yogi, Paramhansa Yogananda's great opus. He came upon it in New York City. This was September 1948. The young man took almost the next bus across America, a journey of 4 days and 4 nights, to Los Angeles, where the great guru had his headquarters. The first words he addressed to the master were, "I want to be your disciple." Thus began the thrilling odyssey of young Kriyananda's life. He was accepted that very day. For the next 10 years, he lived in his guru's ashram on Mount Washington. Only a year later, his guru placed him in charge of the other monks. His guru also made him a teacher and a minister. Kriyananda was to be given many other responsibilities over the years. He became the director of center activities worldwide. He organized many aspects of his guru's organization. In time, he became the first vice president and a member of the SRF board of directors. A point that Kriyananda's great guru emphasized repeatedly in his lectures and writings was the importance of devotees living together in world brotherhood colonies, sharing their spiritual aspirations. It is no small thing to develop new ways of thinking, feeling, and living in a materialistic world. It is all the more difficult nowadays, with people focusing so strongly on material values. Swami Kriyananda was at a garden party in 1949 in Beverly Hills, California, when Paramhansa Yogananda addressed hundreds of people on the subject of world brotherhood colonies. It was the most powerful lecture Kriyananda had ever heard. Yogananda urged his listeners to go north, south, east, and west, thousands of youths, to show the world that living together for God is the way to true freedom and happiness. Kriyananda vowed to do what he could to bring this ideal to fruition. Ananda village is located in the foothills of the Sierra Nevada mountains in Nevada City, California. In time, it came to comprise some 1,000 acres of land. Here, hundreds of member disciples of Paramhansa Yogananda now live. Most are householders, many of them with children. Schools were developed and now flourish according to the educational ideals of Paramhansa Yogananda. Swami Kriyananda explained these ideals in his book, Education for Life. The concept education for life can be understood in 2 ways. Primarily, it is a system of education that will prepare children for meeting life's challenges and not only fit them for employment or for intellectual pursuits. It is also a way to see the whole of life, beyond the years spent in school, as education. For if indeed, as most people deeply believe, life has purpose and meaning, then its goal must be to educate us ever more fully to that meaning. And the true goal of the education we receive during our school years must be to help prepare us for that lifelong learning process. In addition, many thousands of other adherents of Ananda practice the teachings all over the world, devotedly following the teachings of Paramhansa Yogananda through the inspiring guidance of Swami Kriyananda. Kriyananda calls no one his disciple. All, he explains, are disciples of his great guru, Paramhansa Yogananda. At present, there are 8 Ananda communities in existence, 6 of them in America, in Sacramento and Palo Alto, California, Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington, and Providence, Rhode Island. There are also communities in Assisi, Italy, and in New Delhi, India. Some 1,000 people live and serve God in these communities. At the Ananda communities, people from all walks of life learn and practice various aspects of yoga and meditation. Raja Yoga is the basis for all of our teaching. It is more than a system of physical postures. It is a complete way of life. Yoga offers techniques for bringing peace and harmony into your attitudes, work, relationships, and family life. The meditation techniques brought by Paramhansa Yoganada form the bedrock on which Ananda has been built. The Rajasi Park business complex at Ananda Village includes management offices for both the community and Ananda Sangha, which assists the worldwide network of Ananda communities, centers, and meditation groups. Jyotish and Devi Novak are the spiritual directors of Ananda worldwide. The staff of the Ananda Sangha offers individuals the resources to maintain an inspirational connection with Ananda and the tools to strengthen their inner life.